she had fantasies about, there was an entry that we were reading that she had fantasy about having a penis and shagging some country girl, and being the dominant person in the relationship. She talked a lot about being near and about touching the skin on queer. I don't know how much you know about the diaries, but she also incurred a cross a lot, which basically meant she masturbated or had a wank, whatever you'd like to say. And she, so she often gave lots of pleasure to her women, and then she would finish herself off, or she would do it separately. So, having looked at all that, having looked at sexual positions and how we'd like to do all that, we then stripped it all back and said, hang on a minute, this show isn't about how much sex we can cram into it. This show is about this amazing woman who happens to be a lesbian. So let's put all that in, knowing that that's how she was. But actually, there's not so much of it. And also they had to wear nightgowns because if someone walked in on them, they would have to pretend that they were friends, just sharing a bed.
Yeah.
So there's a bit, there's enough kind of to reflect the diaries, but we did the homework, and then there are bits cut out.
I mean, full marks on your homework. You know all
Thanks
about
very
stone
much.
butchers,
Yeah.
psychologies of queer sex. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sounds just my type.
Oh,
She
good,
sounds great.
Ace. Yeah, you look like her type, actually.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah.
I like to think me and Gentleman Jack would have got on great.
Yeah, good.
Suranne, was this the first time that you'd played a lesbian character?
Lesbian, yes. Bi, no. Gender, non-specific, no. So I played a bisexual character in a TV series called Strictly Confidential, where I played a sex therapist. And Eva Pope was my ex-girlfriend. I think we just had one snog in flashback. And then I played, in Charlie Brooker's Touch of Cloth, I snogged Anna Chancellor. She was, we had a very, very funny scene. Have you ever seen it?
No.
No, there's a scene where Anna, she takes me to obviously it's a black comedy, to this lesbian restaurant, and I'm chatting away to her, not knowing that it's a lesbian restaurant, and she says, I think yes, your clams are coming. Yes, they're absolutely steaming. In only the way that Anna Chancellor can do it. So buying that one, and then I played Sarah Rao's adaptation of Orlando, Virginia Woolf's Orlando, where you start off as a young boy, and then halfway through you have a sex change, and then you become a woman who grows to be 500. So basically you're playing with what gender fluidity and what gender means in the 20th century. And that was an amazing show at the Royal Exchange. But lesbian, no, this is the first lesbian I've played.
And how was it for you?
Good. It was really good. Actually, it was, I mean, to say it's the best job I've ever done is, I mean, that's, she's so, it's like, it was like a life-affirming job. It was, I went in every day thinking, I'm so lucky to be, have been chosen to play her, to walk in her shoes, to actually be in her house, to love the loves that she loved. The women, my ex-girlfriends throughout the show, are all amazing women, all amazing actresses, and the different chemistry that we found with each one, because she had very different relationships, and Walker's relationship is really specific and delicate and complicated, and anyone who knows the diaries will know that. Every day, and we were surrounded by female directors, and the sensitivity that was given to finding what this transgressive, amazing, modern woman was doing was just unbelievable. It was brilliant. I can't express it enough to say how fucking amazing. She is. I'm being very potty-mouthed, but it's a word that expresses a lot.
Oh, I'm a fan of the potty mouth. I'm
Yeah,
from
good,
Leeds.
good, exactly.
Go
yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
Yeah, yeah.
So within the LGBTQI community, there's a lot of discussion around the topic of straight actors playing queer parts.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is that a conversation that you're aware of, and do you have any thoughts on the subject?
I'm massively aware of it. Yeah, of course. Firstly, I've got a lot of thoughts on it. Firstly, I've got to say that anyone within the LGBTQI community who is disappointed that there isn't a lesbian actress playing this role, I get that, and maybe everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I can see why for such a big character and on prime time they would perhaps feel that. Firstly, I auditioned, so we've also got to blame HBO and Sally for casting me. But I think what you have to think, the actor often gets, so I'm just the face of Gentleman Jack, but behind me, in the process of scripting, in the process of our chats beforehand, in the delicate research I did, our historian Anne Shomer is a lesbian, our script editor is a lesbian. I'm just the face, but behind me are hundreds of people, some straight, some gay, some lesbian, all different backgrounds, who have inputted and given me tools to build the character that I built. People have been really open with their lives, their experiences, homophobia, sexual content. So I feel like I'm not just one person, and I think that when we look at straight actors playing gay or lesbian roles, I think we do forget all the people that have kind of given me a voice and put their input. And I know one particular woman on our crew, actually she was quite pissed off about that, because she's a lesbian woman in TV, and she worked a lot on this script. So I'm kind of part of her, it's I'm just the person who gets to kind of put it all into my being and then translate on screen. And we don't often talk about whether the directors or the writers are gay or lesbian. It just seems to be the actor that gets it. The last thing to say, you can see I'm quite passionate about this, is I've played characters or women who have lost their children or abused children. I haven't been through that, but I rely on people who can tell me their story and give me their world and their most intimate parts, and then trust that I will be able to tell their story. And with someone like Anne Lister, we've got her diary. I've got every single thought of her. Some really dull, like what the weather was like, but then some that are heartbreaking. And Sally had that to kind of go from before she wrote the script. So I think with this project, I feel like I have had enough input to be qualified to do it. Truly do feel like that.
Well, you smashed that answer.
Thanks.
Great answer. No arguments from me.
Okay.
You were a wonderful Anne Lister.
Great, thank you.
The other thing that I'm desperate to find out, and I think that Diva viewers will be as well,
Yeah.
is Anne Lister's diaries. They're famously a little bit raunchy,
Bit dirty, yeah.
little bit lovely and filthy, aren't they?
Yeah.
How much is that reflected in this show?
I was working in the theatre when I first got the scripts, and my mate was. She's lesbian, and she's saying, so what the scripts say, and I'd sit in her chair and we'd go through all the scripts, and then you could see her kind of glazing over. She's going, where are the dirty bits? It's like, all right, okay, let's get to the dirty bit. So we did all the research. So we had an intimacy director as well. So we looked into the fact that how she had sex. She didn't like to be penetrated and she didn't like her boobs being touched because she didn't want to be womanized in that way. She she had fantasies about, there was an entry that we were reading that she had fantasy about having a penis and shagging some country girl and being the dominant person in the relationship. She talked a lot about being near and about touching the skin on queer. I don't know how much you know about the diaries, but she also incurred a cross a lot, which basically meant she masturbated or had a wank, whatever you'd like to say. And she, so she often gave lots of pleasure to her women, and then she would finish herself off, or she would do it separately. So, having looked at all that, having looked at sexual positions and how we'd like to do all that, we then stripped it all back and said, hang on a minute, this show isn't about how much sex we can cram into it. This show is about this amazing woman who happens to be a lesbian. So let's put all that in, knowing that that's how she was. But actually, there's not so much of it. And also they had to wear nightgowns because if someone walked in on them, they would have to pretend that they were friends, just sharing a bed.
Yeah.
So there's a bit. There's enough kind of to reflect the diaries, but we did the homework, and then there are bits cut out.
I mean, full marks on your homework. You know all
Thanks
about
very
stone
much.
butchers,
Yeah.
psychologies of queer sex. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sounds just my type.
Oh,
She sounds great.
good, ace. Yeah, you look like her type, actually.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah.
I like to think me and Gentleman Jack would have got on great.
Yeah, good.
The last thing I wanted to ask you about was you and lovely Sophie Rundle, who plays Anne Walker.
So beautifully.
So the
Yeah.
pair of you, just gorgeous.
Yeah.
You two have got such magical, lovely chemistry on screen.
Yeah.
Now, is that something that you have to really work hard as actors to create, or is it just a natural thing that happens?
I think it's a natural thing. So we do chemistry tests,
Right.
Because with something like this, you absolutely can't get that wrong, and also neither of me and Sophie are lesbians, so we had to absolutely make sure that whatever chemistry we were bringing was right and would sustain the course of their relationship as well. So we had chemistry reads, and I instantly fell for her because of she's brilliant anyway, and funny and dozy and geeky and wonderful company. And I think with any relationship, gay or straight, on screen with actors, you have to build it up throughout the 8 episodes. I was with Sophie for 8 months, and by the end, we were really close. So with this one, because it starts in 1832, and then you see our relationship develop on screen, I guess me and Sophie developed it at the same time that the audience is seeing it, which is amazing. And, by the end, you're just like any couple that are, farting in bed next to each other between takes. And where at first you're quite, gentle. But, yeah, she won't thank me. I'll say that I was farting, not Sophie. Although she probably did.
Great that you were so comfortable and intimate together.
Exactly, yeah. And they were by the end. God, the diaries towards the end, before they got married, they're so complicated because Anne Walker's character is beautifully... She suffers with religious phobia, with homophobia towards herself because of the society's constraints, and she's so up and down, and what Anne Lister tries to do to kind of help her along with that mentally and keep her well, it's exhausting. And I think that throughout the series you just want these two women to be together because there's a love there, but it's so hard. And of course in that time they had to be so secretive with it. But then they got married, and that's like I still can't believe that happened in 1834, that they did that, and that she wanted a wife. And she clearly says in the diaries, she started out at Manor School talking about playing husband and wife when she was with Eliza Rain, when she was like 15, 16. And it very quickly turned into wife and wife because she knew that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
And I still can't get over that is in print from that time. And not many people know about her.
It's mind-blowing. Well,
No.
Suranne, you've done a phenomenal job of bringing her to life. And thank you so much for talking to us. It's just been a real privilege. Thank you.
Thank you.